Hello friends, welcome to my channel SushantChessWise. Today we are at the next topic and we are going to cover the details of Alapin Sicilian, the main line which black often chooses to make the position imbalanced. So let's get quickly to that and see what we can do. E4, C5, C3, the Alapin Sicilian or so called the C3 Sicilian. Black goes Nf6. The main line idea is to challenge the white center and create an imbalance. We saw previously that the lines with d5 they give very dry kind of positions, and here black is trying to create an imbalance which white also happily accepts. He gets some space and we will play it in a gambit style. So e5, nd5, d4, c takes d4, usual idea in the Sicilian, and instead of cd4 we will play knight f3. Of course, right now the pawn cannot take dc3 because queen takes d5. Of course, knight would be lost. So black often goes nc6, e6 would be met the same way. bc4, and now here there are two lines. One is the knight going to b6, the main line, and other is the move e6. After e6, castle, we can often take bd5 straight away, dc3, and here bishop d5. Point is that after e takes d5, knight c3, white is somewhat better. d5 will be taken and see d7 remains isolated. Bishop is going to go to g5, queen moves to e2, and this we will see time and again, rook occupying d1 and the c1 square. White should be somewhat better there. So I had a game once where black played c2. Grandmaster Nilotpal Das played this against me. After qc2, knight b4, qb3, knight d5, knight c3, knight c3, qc3. I felt that white is doing well. Black has the bishop pair here, see, and an extra pawn in the center. But see, development is way less. So white generates play here. After be7, there is nd4, which I didn't play in the game actually. And after castle qg3, this should give very good play to white. There is bishop h6 coming up, and same way the rooks would like to occupy d1. Knight can go to b5, rook c1. Then this knight you can see eyes c7 and the d6 squares. White should be somewhat better here as well. If black goes here d6 instead of b7 or d5, then we have ed. Now see, bd6 outright mistake because queen g7, rook f8, bh6, we see the threat of queen takes h7, and see also rooks coming to d1 and c1. White is clearly better, almost winning here. So qd6 forced, and to qd6 too there is bishop g5. See, the rook is eyeing d1 and the other rook is eyeing the c1 square. Once again, white is doing great. So from the opening you can see what kind of initiative we are trying to get. So let's go to the main line now. nb6, bb3, and here the main move is d5. After e6 we have castle or cd4, which will be considered in our next lesson. dc is really bad. You will not find a single game where both players are 2500 plus with the move dc. Knight c3, no grandmaster would risk into this position. Black is already struggling here. After e6, castle, here both d5 and d6 options are there. d6 allows bg5, be7, takes, knight takes, pawn takes, knight f5. The knight came to f5 to attack d6, but see, knight e4. d6 is strongly protected, and see, after castle, rook c1, you can easily see this knight will jump to e5, rook is eyeing the c7 square. Mainly this bishop will not get chance to settle on c6. So white is clearly better. And after d5 here, trying to keep the center closed, ed, opening the position, bd6, queen e2, castle, rook d1. See the situation here, already threats are there, nb5 and ne4. So there are serious problems, and see, this knight is trying to reach to g5 and queen will come to h5. Knight on g5, see, I sack on e6, f7 or the h7 squares. So already a great position for white. So the main line is d5 here. After d5, ed, The line e6 will be dealt, as I said in the next chapter, c takes d4. Here the structure is totally different. We like to take the IQP, isolated queen pawn, which becomes a source of kingside attack usually. And after queen d6, the main move, castle, and here the main move is bishop e6. e6 again, cd4 is the same what we discussed in the previous variation. Do note that e5 is terrible here. After e5, there is knight g5, knight d8, cd, qd4, qf3. White is clearly better. Black will have to play cf6. When see after knight c3, then rook d1, then bishop e3, black is really struggling. So b6 straight away, and here comes the very interesting move, knight a3. The knight aims to go to b5 and then later on take on d4, which will allow white to have 3 pawns on the queen side versus black's 2, which is called the queen side pawn majority, along with the central space. So black can't play e5 very easily. So what will happen? White can create a passer on the queen side. So white can aim for comfortable edge in the endgame, and there are some lines if black accepts the gambit, then he is in real trouble. Let's say here itself, see, if DC chosen by many, there comes queen e2, bb3, knight b5, first pushing the queen back, queen goes back to b8, ab, and now see already black is struggling a bit. Now see a6, one of the ideas is to go g3 and bishop f4. So black first sends the knight back from b5, a6, knight d4, knight d4, knight d4, and here two options, either to play e6 instantly or take c takes b2. After c takes b2, which is worse, bb2, white's development is way more, e6 takes check, b7, very interesting line, re1, queen c7, bg7, queen d7 attacking the queen, queen e5, and after rook g8, rook d1, it's game over. See, the queen is going to h5, which would be a mate soon. And if e6 instantly, then to knight e6, fe, queen e6, this comes as a shock actually, b7, here bg5 first, knight c8, and see rook e1. Immediate threat on e7, so qc7, bc3, rook f8, rook d1, and now see rook f7. Now how will white improve? See, white has the terrific move rook e4. The move instantly brings about a winning position. There is no defense to the threat of see rook e d4, and black has nothing much to offer. See, after qc6, rook d4, now see, of course, queen e6 blunder, rook d8, bd8, rd8 mates, and after nb6, the only way to guard d8, there comes rook d6, queen c8, rook b6, queen e6, re6, and white is winning. White will not trade on e7. Generally, he will not want a single rook endgame. So bishop may drop back to e3 after the move h6. So white is clearly better. So the move dc is of course very risky for black. Black goes bishop into b3, queen takes b3, and here the main line queen d5. Otherwise, white has knight b5. So queen d5, knight b5 still. Now if queen d8, then bishop f4, immediately white gets a winning position, rook c8, rook e1, and see here too e6 fails. Black is unable to complete his development. See re6, fe, queen e6. If queen e7, then knight d6 check, kd8, bg5 is simplest. If bishop e7, then to nd6 check, king f8, then queen f7 mates. So queen d6 forced and bd6, white is of course winning. After rook d8, rook e1, white should win. So now we have the main line, queen takes b3, a takes b3, rook c8, stopping nc7 check. So now comes the knight d4, knight d4, knight d4, a6. One may think, what has happened? See, white of course has some extra development, but we will say it's an endgame. But see the way white improves the position. He goes with the very strong b4, e6, b5, ab, and the very strong rook a7. b4 trying to break on c3, rook b7, knight is attacked, so knight d5, knight b5 protecting c3, and here to see problems are far from over. Now see bc and c3 blunder because knight c3, rook c3, rook check, ke7, and the very strong bd2. Firstly, bb4 check is a threat. Black can try rook c4. If we want the exchange, we can do bb4 here, but it's not best. White should press with the move rook a1 when I think he is way more better. Rook is c, eyeing the square a7 and a8. So this is winning for white. There was a lot of detailed and intricate analysis here. This will enable you to face or play this line against about 2200 rated players. Mostly I have had games against IMs in this line and my score has been really good. So I hope you will also benefit from this lesson. Definitely let me know in the comments below. Thanks for your time.